Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
684,000 people filed for the first time last week for unemployment. That's historically high, but the first time since the pandemic began, the number of weekly jobless claims has dropped below 700,000. There are about 19 million Americans claiming some form of government jobless aid, but to many economists, this is a sign of things picking up as vaccinations and loosening of restrictions encourage growth.
Jobs equals money. Money equals paying bills, purchasing things. Coronavirus, slowly but surely, seems to be in a situation where it's more than just slowing down in some areas. On the other side of things, people are feeling like, hey, got the vaccine. People around here have the vaccine. We're doing okay. We're doing all right. Things seem to be picking up. Things seem to be good. It feels like normalcy almost. The debate in certain places of should we wear a mask anymore? Should we not wear a mask? Don't know. This is where we're headed, at least at this moment. Now, of course, you'll find the people out there who will say, the Faucis of the world who will find a way to tampen down anything. Doesn't really matter what it is, right? At this point in time, we could be going good. It could be great. And the more people are getting vaccinated, that's fantastic. And at the same time, there's a very good chance that we should never forget that this is going to get worse.
When I'm often asked, are we turning the corner? My response is really more like we are at the corner. Whether or not we're going to be turning that corner still remains to be seen.
Of course. Of course, it's true. Whether or not we'll turn the corner remains to be seen. Because victory will never be ours. Because.
When you're at that level, I don't think you can declare victory and say you've turned the corner. You've got to continue to do what we're doing. More vaccinations and continue to do public health measures until we actually do turn the corner.
So that's why Dr. Fauci was asking everybody to do their part. To get not only double vaccinated, to get neutered and spayed. He's just never a ray of sunshine. And I'm not asking for it. You can deliver news in a way where, look, we're not over this, and I'm not saying we're over this. But I'm also not here to go, look, it's all bad news. It's not. It's good. Some people will only ever hear bad news. I mean, have you ever been that person? I mean, some people listening are like, you could tell somebody 999 good things and tell them one thing that they need to work on or a constructive, information about something, and they'll only hear that. Fauci's the exact opposite. He may tell you one thing that's good, and then the next 999 things are those. You need to have some positivity. Things are looking better. That we get. When things get better and we emerge from this, what happens? We get out. We spend money. People are starting to feel better. First time since the pandemic. We're going back about, 55, 56 weeks plus since we've had under 700,000 filers for unemployment. That's huge. Now we just have to continue forward, get people vaccinated, or get people to catch it. It's like the two things. Get vaccinated or catch the damn thing so we can get to herd immunity. The choice is yours. I don't care what you do. I hope you don't catch it. But if the choice is, it's an eventual thing, then you got to do it.
These vaccines definitely slow down spread, probably 80-90%. So that's a really high level of reduction of transmission. One of the reasons why these vaccines are really turning out to be, I think, better than any of us expected.
Yeah, and that's great. Even AstraZeneca, which has had some serious issues. Because if you guys have been following AstraZeneca, apparently they had some outdated information. They had no information in some cases, right? Like they showed up like, hey, we'd like to have emergency authorization. All right, do you have all your paperwork? Nah. We just think it's pretty good. We tried it in Europe, and they seem to be somewhat okay. But I don't know. What else do you guys have? Nothing. I mean, it's 79%. Really? Maybe 75. I don't. But it's pretty good. It's not the way you do things. It is. It's not gone well for them. But they have to say it kindly.
This was just sloppy communication. 79% in the original, now with 76. Essentially the same results, but they should have done this a lot better.
Yeah, Dr. Jha there is absolutely right. Should have done a lot better. They didn't. End of this will give us 4 vaccines. We're going to be swimming in them. We're going to have plenty of them in the coming weeks and months. We're going to get to the places that we need to get to. That's what matters through both, yes, I'm going to say it, through people that have caught it, survived it, people who are asymptomatic. Part of the herd immunity is the fact that the herd catches something, and that's how it's built up. But we also have vaccines which can speed in the process. So good news. That's a win right there. It's absolutely a win, except for the fact where it's not a win. And no. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter tweet. Text. Hope you are doing well. All that being said, we still have other issues. Those other issues are immigration. Immigration's always an issue. We have the attention span of a gnat in this country. You know that. I know that. We talk about it all the time. We are an ADHD culture. And part of the fact is, I don't even know if we're an ADHD culture. I think we just have so much stuff in front of us that everybody's trying to consume as much as possible. We're always drinking from a fire hose when it comes to information, entertainment, things of that nature. Immigration, the problem's 35 years in the making, and it's not gone anywhere. But Biden is now under the microscope, and yesterday he handed it off to Harris. But first and foremost, people are asking questions about, you criticized the last president for the mess he made at the border. Every president's made a mess at the border because nobody really wants to do anything about it. So I don't know what, he tried something. He wanted to take it on. He wanted to stem the tide of what was going on. And the border isn't just, by the way, the border on the south side of our nation. It's also at the airports where people come here for various reasons, some to study, some because they have a job, some because they're dating, some on vacation, and they just don't leave. That's kind of their plan from the beginning. And we need to fix the system. But right now, the transparency has been very, 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 very minimal when it comes to what's taking place at the border now, especially with kids.
When Senator Ted Cruz leads an 18-member congressional delegation to the U.S.-Mexico border tomorrow,
we want the media to be there. We want the American people to see what's happening.
Especially at the holding facilities for unaccompanied migrant children. Domingo Garcia, head of the League of United Latin American Citizens, LULAC, is demanding media access to teens being housed at Dallas's downtown convention center.
They can show and interview these children. That will allow the politicians of Washington to take action.
So far, though, the no media policy remains in place.
Yeah. And one of the places they've allowed the media into, it's the place that's not crowded, that has it's very staged. I mean, outside of directors, it feels very much like almost like North Korea. Like, look at all this. This is great. They're playing soccer. They're having fun. They're doing all kinds of look at this over there. Look how no, we know there's more. Where is the real? Where's the real stuff? Not this where you're showing us a place where, oh, look how nice they're having it here. They're learning. They're doing Tai Chi. They're playing soccer. No, we don't want the stage. We want the real. We want the real. We're not getting that. And now you've put Kamala Harris in charge, which, can I just say, spectacular. Can I? Of all the people to put in charge, Arizona Governor Doug Ducey.
Well, I have been informed that Vice President Kamala Harris has been put in charge of border security. She's about the worst possible choice that one could make. In no point in her career has she given any indication that she considers the border a problem or a serious threat.
No. It's like putting a fat kid in charge of guarding the cake. He happens to be starving, and there's zero consequences if he eats it. What do you think's going to happen? She doesn't care. She's I'm in charge of it. She has no interest of even going down there at this moment in time. We're going to touch on this throughout the day. It is a frustrating thing. And I'm not blaming the Biden administration. What's going on right now is landing in their lap, and a good portion of this is their doing. Plus the medias in other countries and people in other countries who are saying, okay, Biden's there now. We feel like, hey, this is a good time to come. This stuff happens all the time, and it's been happening, and it will continue to happen until it's actually addressed properly. But Kamala Harris, the VP, she's got no real interest in this. You just need somebody, to be in charge of something. And here you go. There you go. We'll see how this plays itself out. But know this, one of the big reasons so many are coming here, young men, and I mean young men as in the 18 plus are coming here because they believe that the marketplace is going to get much better. Plus, Trump is gone.
Would you have tried to do this when Donald Trump was president?
Definitely not. Definitely. We had the chance, the same violence that's going on today was there last year. We used to watch the news, and I definitely won't do this.
So did you come here because Joe Biden was elected president?
Basically.
Yeah. It's pretty simple. But I can't just blame Joe. The reality of it is this is a long time in the making, and Republicans and Democrats from top to bottom have a huge part to play in this. It's not going to be solved overnight, but you know what won't be solved? Anything, unless you're actually willing to sit down and go, all right, how do we actually fix this in a way that is real with some sustainability and enforce it? 323-538-2423, 323-538-2423. That is the text line. You can text me directly at Chad Benson Show's Twitter. 3 days into my vaccination, still here. No third eye, no tail, no, I'm not a lycanthrope. The moon's out at night, and I haven't turned into a werewolf, although, you never know. It's not quite a full moon. Car Shield gives you 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. You choose the shop. They get them paid directly, which is fantastic. And when you call them up, 800-665-2157, 800-665-2157. Be specific in what it is that you're looking for. You hear people say, I've had a nightmare with, whether it's Car Shield or any of these. Well, they didn't cut. Why? Well, you just, I'll take any kind of plan. Well, that's not the way it works, right? It's like you've got to do it right and ask for the things that you need. Plans start as low as $99 a month. They've helped over 1 million drivers, and they're ready to help you. It is America's #1 auto protection company, Car Shield. 800-665-2157. Code Benson is the code used. Save 10% or go to carshield.com. Carshield.com. Code Benson saves you 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
This is the first significant test of the Biden administration after years of the Trump administration failing to make any progress in the denuclearization of North Korea, even after those well-publicized summits. And it comes after testimony from a top U.S. commander who said North Korea's achieved alarming success in its quest to threaten the U.S. homeland with nuclear-armed ICBMs, and they may resume those testing of larger missiles. The Biden administration says it is committed to diplomacy.
Yeah, well, you can play the diplomacy all day long. Nothing is going to change. Trump tried a different tactic, shut him up for a while, but it also, they say, well, it gave him the opportunity to be on the world stage, and he's on the world stage. You have a nuclear weapon. Okay, let me tell you something. If you get a nuclear weapon today, you're officially on the world stage. Okay? Your neighbor's like, I don't know if I trust this guy. So that's the reality of it. They played the game years ago in the late 80s and early 90s with North Korea. And North Korea promised all of this stuff. They got the money, did the things they wanted to do. Trump tried a different tactic. It didn't work the way that maybe people thought it was going to work. And at the end of all of this, nothing has changed. Diplomacy isn't going to work with this guy. He doesn't care about diplomacy. He cares about lying to his people and keeping his fiefdom. That's basically what it's about. And you can play games all day.
This is the first time North Korea has launched ballistic missiles in a year, and it is a clear violation of UN Security Council resolutions and follows the launch of 2 cruise missiles over the weekend.
Ooh, the UN's going to be mad at them. Oh, God. They're not going to send the guys with the blue helmets over, are they? It's a joke. It's a joke. And you're going to get tested. And he's got his first test, right? With this. He's got his test last week with China. In fairness to Biden, they haven't done anything with China as far as rolling back some of those, tariffs and things of that nature. He says he's going to see how that goes, but it didn't go well. China's laughing at us because we're trying to be woke and they're trying to win. And, we're trying to, I'm not quite sure what we're trying to do in some points. Biden is focused on the vaccine, getting to herd immunity. Totally understand that. But these are his first real tests when it comes to the geopolitical side. It's easy to deal with Merkel and everybody else. We're like, oh, thank God you're here because the last guy was a jerk. But these people are going to put you to the test. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program aliens. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Another long day for the tugs and dredgers, but still no progress. The MV Ever Given remains wedged in the waterway. That's creating a growing traffic jam at the entry points on either end, with at least 150 vessels now stacked up. The hope is the ship can be coaxed into moving without having to offload its thousands of containers, which would eat up even more time. Tom Rivers, ABC News at the Foreign Desk.
I like how he said coaxed, like it's an animal. Come here. Come on. Ooh, look at this. Do you want some? Ooh, come on. It's not. It's a ship. You're coaxing anything. This has big ramifications. By the way, if you like your coffee, be prepared to maybe see that some of your coffee will not be available sooner rather than later because of this. This is a massive ship that is sideways in one of the busiest shipping areas in the world. And they're going, we're trying to coax it. It's not doing what we're asking. What do you think we should do? Maybe we should put it down. It's sideways. Oh, my God. And it's so funny, too, because, like all the other ships are just looking at the ship and everybody's on the on the deck, and they all have their hands in their hands. We're so sorry. This is so embarrassing. This is so embarrassing. And now you'll always be forever known as the guy who turned the boat sideways at the Suez Canal. But the domino effect of this will be very big, especially in Europe, but not just what's on that ship, what's on all these other ships things getting to the places that it needs to get to, that is not going to help, because it shows you how connected in a weird way we are. And how, like that winter storm, right? Like, one of the reasons that we're being able to do the things that we're doing when it comes to how much more vaccine we're getting is a simple thing like that winter storm throughout Texas and the Southeast and everything and Southwest. It really slowed things down. Well, now it's opened up again, and people are getting a ton of vaccines. We're getting a ton. It's happening. One little thing sometimes out of line in a certain area. It's like with cars. I was talking to my friend Chris Scott. He runs one of the big dealerships out here, Liberty GMC, and he and I were chatting, and he says, one of the problems that they're having right now is the fact they can't produce stuff as fast as they need to because there's been issues with microchips. Well, you're like, a car needs because everything's electronic. So without the microchip, what does that do? We can't have the car. You can't get it. So dealerships and stuff are selling a lot of their new cars just essentially on invoice because the car's kind of built. We just missing some of the electronic things, little things. We just can't produce them. Places are shut down. One little thing could cause a giant mess. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. It is a nightmare at the border. I don't care what anybody says. And it's a disaster. It's been a disaster for 35 years. It's been building up for a long time. Some presidents say we want to take it on, and it's all lip service. One president tried to do it. He overreached in certain areas. In other places, he was demonized as evil and bad. But he took a shot at it, and that didn't help him. And now this president, who said he's going to give a pathway to citizenship to 11 million people in one of the debates that kind of went over everybody's head, is having to deal with the fact that people are coming here. And, they're saying, I wouldn't try it with the last guy, but this guy, absolutely. And the media, who destroyed Trump, is now looking out there and going, well, we got to, we'd like to see what's going on at the border. And they're being told essentially no.
The access limited, only one camera allowed in. Reporters told not to speak with any of the 766 teenagers sheltering inside.
I think the crisis is that we have not yet fully responded to the needs that are out there. It is a humanitarian context in terms of what these children are fleeing.
Currently, because of COVID, we've had to limit the number of children that can be brought into these types of facilities and also ensure that they are safe.
Border Patrol stations are no place for a child.
We have nothing to hide. We are so grateful that you've taken the time to come see this facility.
All of it sounds great, right? Like, we have nothing to hide, but you're not allowing full access. People are frustrated. They are. How do we get to where we're not in this mess again? I don't know if we ever will. Look, as long as America is what America is, people are always going to try to get here. It's the beauty of the country that we have. People are going to make an effort to try to get here because of what this country, the spirit of the country, the thought of the country, whatever you want to, represents. Opportunity, freedom, liberty, economically, politically. That's what they're trying to do. They're going to. And a wall's not going to stop them. Okay, that's just not going to happen. There's just people are going to come. So the way that you're going to have to do it is by enforcing some of these things. Now, we can make things easier. I think that's exactly what we should be looking to do. But we have to address certain things as well and understand that, look, people are going to try to come here. Guess what? People try to rob banks. People do rob banks. Why is that? Because that's where the money's at. That's as long as there's an opportunity for something like this, America, people are going to make an effort to get here. And they do it through desperation.
The reality also is that in addition to the border, we also need to deal with the root causes.
Yes.
We need to deal with what's happening in the Northern Triangle and address it in a way that is about not only diplomacy but bringing our allies together, dealing with what we need to do around aid in a way that is about developing those countries so that we also deal with the cause of why people are coming into our country.
Which is very true, but the problem is there's never any accountability, and we throw how much money at these countries in the Northern Triangle. So she's talking about, so think about this, think of Central America kind of area, the Hades as well, and a lot of people are coming there. A lot of the people that are being seen here are from places like Haiti, but it's Guatemala, it's El Salvador, it's Honduras. These countries, how much more can you give them? They take the money. It's full of corruption. There's zero accountability. And in many places, the cartels and the military and the leaders just kind of have a run of everything. So why change? That's frustrating for everybody. And I think throwing away good money on countries that are going to essentially waste it is not something we need to be doing. So you better figure something else out. And there's ways of doing it, but nobody really wants to, again, find a solution to any of this. Because the problem pays the bills. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Then you go from that to other aliens. Yo, Chad, what are you talking about? You know what I'm talking about. The not of this earth or this dimension. I mean, we always think it's not of Earth, but it's really about the dimensions. So in the last COVID bill that Trump did, they got that done in December. Inside of that bill that passed was essentially the Pentagon has to release a bunch of UFO information within 180 days. So by June 1st, a bunch of information about UFOs needs to be released. And former National Security Director, like a real smart cat, John Ratcliffe, he's been asked about it. It's very interesting.
There's now a report that will be issued by the Pentagon, by the Secretary of Defense, and the Director of National Intelligence. But frankly, there are a lot more sightings than have been made public. Some of those have been declassified. When we talk about sightings, we're talking about objects that have been seen by Navy or Air Force pilots or have been picked up by satellite imagery that, frankly, engage in actions that are difficult to explain, movements that are hard to replicate, that we don't have the technology for, or traveling at speeds that, exceed the sound barrier without a sonic boom.
That's the one they're talking about, the Tic Tac. If you've not seen that, it's a Navy pilot video from several years ago, but it was released. And you see something they're following. It's, they're 80,000 feet in the air. And then within a nanosecond, they're at the surface of the ocean hovering above it. And there's no boom, untracked, impossible to follow. Nothing that we have, that we know of. Let's remember that we know of. Because some of the stuff that we see, the Pentagon and the powers that be are happy that people think it's extraterrestrial, because what it really is stuff we've been working on to make sure that, if anybody gets itchy somewhere else and wants to think about doing something, that they're going to find out, no. But there's a lot out there that you just don't know what it is. You don't.
It's not just a pilot or just a satellite or some intelligence collection. Usually we have multiple sensors that are picking up these things. And so, again, some of this are just their unexplained phenomenon. And there's actually quite a few more than have been made public. So I think it'll be healthy for as much of this information to get out there as possible.
I always find it interesting, because I don't think everything's a UFO, is in the sense of it's like, oh my God, it's a UFO and it's an alien. No, I look and I think to myself, some of these things are probably national security because we built stuff. But there's also, you go and you start looking through some of the stuff that's, slowly but surely being released before the real report comes out. And they're talking about, look, we got stuff here that, quite frankly, it's not of this world. Wasn't made here. That's like, what?
Things that we are observing that are difficult to explain. And so, there's actually quite a few of those. And I think that information is being gathered and will be put out in a way that the American people can see. We always, when we see these things, we always look for a plausible explanation. Weather can cause visual disturbances. Sometimes we wonder whether or not our adversaries have technologies that are a little bit further down the road than we thought or that we realized. But there are instances where we don't have good explanations for some of the things that we've seen. And, when that information becomes declassified, I'll be able to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah. And I always go back to, it's going to be about 5,500 pages, by the way. I always go back to this. Go back a few months and you'll see Obama sitting there with Stephen Colbert, and they're having one of those like Zoom or meeting, like a conversation for his show. And Colbert kind of hits him with something. They're laughing and joking, doing what they do. He's praising Obama and they're laughing and joking. And Colbert hits him with something about the UFOs. And you see the change in the way Obama reacts. And Colbert kind of hits him again because he thinks it's funny. And Obama gets kind of more terse. And you can see that it's uncomfortable from there. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting. And I'm not saying it's from another world. Maybe it's another dimension. Maybe we're interdimensional. I'm thinking more of that than anything else. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. I do. Home title lock. Speaking of things that people can do, how about this? Steal your house right out from underneath you, all because your information is public, right? Your title is public. Where you live is public. It's all public records. You spend a few bucks, you can get information on just about anything when it comes to things like home ownership and all of those things. So what happens is they go, they find it, they forge signatures across a bunch of places, and lo and behold, they sign over your home to them. Forge everything. Start taking out loans, and by the time you realize it, it's too late, and you're spending tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to recover it or deciding what you're going to do. Home Title Lock will alert you to anything that happens to your title, whether it's something innocuous as somebody going, we had to fix some of the legalese, we had to cross some T's and dot some I's, or it's something nefarious. Now, you can try Home Title Lock, see if your address has already been hit, and get 30 days free protection. Go to HomeTitleLock.com, HomeTitleLock.com. Use code radio. Get 30 days free protection. HomeTitleLock.com. Use code radio. Chad Benson Show.
If you like talk radio like Chad Benson likes his meals, you've come to the perfect place for takeout.
I'll be honest. I didn't really. I saw, I heard what happened. It could have been taken out of context. I don't know the whole situation on that. So, like I said, Timmy is a great guy, and I've had my run-ins with him, no doubt about it. 2006, call the goal back that should not have happened in a Stanley Cup playoff game. But it's human. Everybody's human here. We all make mistakes, and like I say, he had a great career, and I think that's the way he should be remembered.
That's Rod Brendamore, coach, former NHL player, talking about Tim Peel, the referee, who was caught the other night on a hot mic. So people already think sports, especially, like basketball and the NHL, is all kind of rigged. And I don't think he really did anything wrong. I don't. I think he felt he got a call wrong in the first period, and then he said this on the hot mic.
There wasn't much, but I wanted to get a penalty against Nashville early in the...
I wanted to get a penalty against Nashville. Not that Nashville, he wanted to get one. He felt like there was a makeup call. Like maybe he didn't call some things that should have been called, or called something against Detroit that was not really a penalty. But so of course that happens. There's makeup calls all the time. He just happened to be caught doing it, and he paid the price. The NHL's like, they throw him out. It's that way in every sport. It is that way in every sport. There are some makeup calls. Something gets overcalled, something gets undercalled, where they just, we let him play. And then, I'm sure, obviously he regrets it because he's done, and they've suspended him, forever, it looks like, fired him. But I don't think, it just happens. I've played in games where it's like, man, we shouldn't have got that call. And, you're like, this, like, our coaches would say that. Look, dude, they got a red card. It was a cheap red card, so you guys be careful because they're going to look to even the game out. It's like, we know it. The players know it. The fans know it, but you can't have your guys say it. Isn't that weird that that's the world we live in? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. And one of the other things is you also have to think of the gambling side of stuff now. So when you hear something like that, you think, oh, this could influence gambling. Yeah, absolutely. I get it. But as far as the actual play itself, makeup calls happen, and they'll continue to happen. You just need to be 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, your Instagram, Chad Benson Show TV on the YouTube, and, of course, Facebook as well. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
For a year, the number of weekly jobless claims has been stuck above 100,000. For the first time since the pandemic took hold, the number has eased, a good sign for the labor market. But Ann Elizabeth Kunkel, an economist at Indeed, is cautious.
Don't want to celebrate entirely just yet. The magnitude is still so high. Total initial claims are 4.4 times higher than the pre-COVID era.
684,000 Americans filed first-time claims for unemployment last week, a sign fewer people are losing their jobs.
Yes. So still 4 times. So think about that. 4 times higher. About $1.50. But we're getting to the point now where herd immunity, people are at the point now, I think, where they're like, I don't want to say we got it under control, because it's nature, as we always say on this fine program, kids. Nature will mess you up. You know that, and I know that. But at the end of the day, there are some things within our control, and I think a lot more people are saying, all right, it's time to get out there. It's gone on long enough. We need to get on with ourselves. We need to get out there. We need to push through this thing, and this is when it starts. People are getting vaccinated. Places are opening up. Some places are thinking we may have to close down again. Putting that genie back in the bottle, I think it's going to be tough. I think people are going to. You just can't. It's not going to happen. I mean, unless there's a variant that lands here, which is always a possibility, right? All of that is a possibility. There could be something that lands here that is so just my God scenario. Yeah, but I don't think we're there. I think we've got this thing at a point right now where we're going to be okay. We're still going to have some hiccups. There's still going to be some flare-ups. They're already saying, look, yeah, there's going to be some issues, but for all intents and purposes, less death, maybe even some more positivity rates, but the hospitalizations will be down. And part of that is because the people that are getting infected now are young and healthy. Well, they can spread it to the old. Well, by now, the olds had an opportunity to they've either caught it and survived, or they've been vaccinated, or they're in a position where they haven't caught it or been vaccinated because they're so isolated. So, if 12, 22-year-olds catch this, because they're at spring break partying. Well, they could take it back to their parents. It's a possibility, but their parents are having opportunities across the country to get vaccinated. So I think we're getting to that point. But as always, there's going to be cautious people.
I'm excited to report that we've heard from a number of school districts since our updated guidance was released last Friday that they're now able to move forward with broader reopening as a result of our updated recommendations on physical distancing.
That right there is Rochelle Walensky, the doctor, CDC head. So opening up schools, huge things. But then you go to Dr. Fauci, because Dr. Fauci can rain on anybody's parade. At any given time, anywhere, he could figure out a way to go, hey, you know how you think things are good?
When you're at that level, I don't think you can declare victory and say you've turned the corner. You've got to continue to do what we're doing, more vaccinations, and continue to do public health measures until we actually do turn the corner.
Yeah. I still don't know what the corner looks like. Can anybody give me a real what the corner looks like in the minds of a Fauci? Because I think, if you're looking for zero, it's just not happening. If you're looking for a number that is so ridiculously low before we can, really go, hey, we're all going to the movies, nobody's wearing a mask, we're going to be sitting next to each other, we're going to be laughing, we're screaming, it is life as it's meant to be lived. If you're looking for something that is so microscopic, it isn't going to happen. We don't do that with the flu. So if you're hoping that Fauci's going to come out and go, look, once we're at like 20,000 a day, 30,000 a day, it's time to get on with our life. I just don't, he's not ready for that.
When I'm often asked, are we turning the corner? My response is really more like we are at the corner. Whether or not we're going to be turning that corner still remains to be seen.
Man, he's just always a downer. I was talking to somebody yesterday who could not stand Trump, and works in the media world, the news side of stuff. And he says to me, you know what? I don't blame Trump for making sure that guy doesn't get out there, because he is a downer of downers. He is. It's one thing to be cautious, but man, if you can't have some positive news, and I don't know what to say at this point. I really don't. I think we're turning a corner, and I think each state's going to be different. Some states are going to come out of this in a much faster time frame, and part of that is the states that were really not as cautious as other states. Florida's here in Arizona, where we had a high of. Arizona. I'm here in Arizona. We have 7.5 million people. We, for several weeks, were the worst in the world when it came to our infection rates. But because of that, we're also climbing out of it because our herd immunity is at a high level. And a lot of people at the beginning of this, remember, in Sweden said, look, at some point in time, we're all kind of going to get to the same place, which is if you want to keep your life, your businesses, your economy, your schools open, we're all going to get there. No matter how much you hide, we're going to be in that position. And and it's not just because of vaccines. You go and look at places in the Scandinavian countries and Europe and stuff where they had super hard lockdowns. They didn't have the infection rates. Oh, they're doing something right. Well, they're not doing well with the inoculations at all. At all. They're not doing well at all. Like everybody's, oh my God, look at Europe. Europe's doing a great job, minus Italy. They're doing a great job. And everybody's talking about how great Europe was. Why are we so poor at it? Well, we had more infected, absolutely. But through those infections, part of that's the herd immunity. And with our vaccinations, and we've got a ton of them, and they're growing every day, we're getting there much faster. Arizona, Florida, places like that where the infection rates were much higher. We've also got far greater chance of reaching herd immunity much quicker than everybody else. Seems like we're all kind of ending up in the same place. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Still a nightmare on the border. Still a horrible situation on the border. I can't even imagine what it's like when you think about sending a child over here, whether they're 7 years old or 13, to travel in through this treacherous caravan through places where there's a chance you may never get here. And along the way, if you're a girl, you're going to be, potentially raped and sold into, sex trafficking. Or if you're a young man, there's a chance that you're going to end up having to do something for the cartels. It is awful. And then arriving here, this has just become a media blitz that I don't think Biden and them saw. And people are asking questions. And by the way, the questions aren't just coming strictly from Fox going, or OAN or Newsmax or whatever. We'll get back at you for the stuff you did for Trump on the border. All media has questions.
When Senator Ted Cruz leads an 18-member congressional delegation to the U.S.-Mexico border tomorrow,
we want the media to be there. We want the American people to see what's happening.
Especially at the holding facilities for unaccompanied migrant children. Domingo Garcia, head of the League of United Latin American Citizens, LULAC, is demanding media access to teens being housed at Dallas's downtown convention center.
They can show and interview these children. That will allow the politicians of Washington to take action.
So far, though, the no media policy remains in place.
Yeah, and people are frustrated. They are. The media blackout is, and the media that has been allowed in to see certain things is it's very controlled. Almost feels very staged. It's like, oh, they're playing soccer, and look over there, they're knitting, and over here they're doing Tai Chi, and these kids are, over here painting. No, there are issues.
We want to bring reporters with us. We had a lot of reporters who wanted to go. The Biden administration has instituted an unprecedented media blackout. They won't allow reporters in. They won't allow cameras in. They won't allow pictures. And the reason is obvious. Democrats spent 4 years attacking Donald Trump for kids in cages. Well, Obama built the cages, and under Joe Biden, the cages are bigger and they're much more full, and they don't want anyone to see it.
I don't know how true that is, but they're still there. Obama did build those. And they weren't cages, They look like cages. But it's you take something and you make the narrative of something. But Obama did build them, and they were definitely in the firing line of the media and Trump when all that was going down. And of course you had everybody down there in the AOCs of the world, and they're crying, and it's this is like Auschwitz, and now Biden has to answer for some of it. And yesterday he decided, hey, I got the perfect person for this.
The vice president's agreed to lead our diplomatic effort and work with those nations to accept the returnees and enhance migration enforcement at their borders.
I like how he said she's decided to accept it. Like, did she have was there a no? I don't want to do that, Joe. I told you I don't like that stuff. I told you I don't want to do any of those things. How do border states feel about this? Arizona Governor Doug Ducey.
Well, I have been informed that Vice President Kamala Harris has been put in charge of border security. She's about the worst possible choice that one could make. In no point in her career has she given any indication that she considers the border a problem or a serious threat.
No, she doesn't. I just think she cares, It's not. She wants to be in Washington. She wants to be a mover and player. She wants to be president of the United States. She doesn't want to go down and solve a crisis she knows isn't going to be solved. She's not writing bills, even though the president has a wide kind of berth when it comes to things like immigration. The reality is they're not fixing any of this, and she doesn't want to be in a position where she looks like she may fail. But this is what you have to do, so we'll see. I don't think she's going to do anything. It's like a fat kid watching the cake. All right, Jimmy, don't touch the cake. I'm hungry. All right, but don't touch it. What if I eat it? Nothing will happen to you. Okay. All right, I'll be back. in about an hour. Hey, where'd the cake go? I ate it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. AMAC, Association Mature American Citizens, fastest growing over 50 organization in the country. Chance for you to join now. They work hard on things like immigration, going and talking to the politicians, lobbying them for common sense immigration reform, as well as things like your First and Second Amendments and trying to help you cancel culture, I think, like we're all trying to do, because it's nuts. On top of all of that, there's awesome stuff that they offer. Retail, restaurant, hotel discounts, travel discounts, amusement park, movies, you name it, they offer it. Take advantage of this. Less than $16. I think it's like $16 a year. I think it's pennies a day. So now is your chance to join. What are you waiting for? amac.us/chat. 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 Join today. Pennies a day. Great organization. Great benefits. amac.us/chat. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old intranet. What's trending? Let's take a look at trending. Mary Tyler Moore's trending because apparently somebody at the BBC posted the fact that she had died, not realizing that she died 4 years ago. Is it the anniversary of her death? I'm not sure. But, yeah. I don't, sometimes. And then, of course, everybody attacks the person. But, yes, she's no longer with us still. If that makes any sense. Just throwing it out there. What's amazing is just somebody makes a mistake, so they end up destroying that person. That's a good way to build confidence. NHL referee Tim Peel fired. We touched on it earlier. He basically wanted to give a makeup call to Nashville, or against Nashville, to Detroit, and he was caught on a mic saying that, and the NHL has let him go because they want everybody to know that they're totally, above board. I think we all realize that, but still, doesn't matter. Oh, my Lord. Bernie Sanders and Amazon trending. He is going to Alabama, as the Amazon employees try to unionize today. We'll see how that goes. He's going to go stand with them. Head on over to the magical world of Google. Hannah Montana. Miley Cyrus wrote in her letter to Hannah Montana. You wrote a letter to Hannah Montana? You're Hannah Montana. Immigration, still trending everywhere, as you thought it would be. Kim Jong-un in North Korea, also trending because he's rattling his saber. He must be getting hungry and running out of... What's his drink? I forgot. What is it? Is it Crown? Jameson. I think he is the largest customer for Jameson in the world. How can that be? They have nothing. No, he's got everything. He's got everything. And then some. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. And Publix is trending. And we're going to talk about why it's trending and what almost potentially happened there today. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Would you have tried to do this when Donald Trump was president?
Definitely not. Definitely. We had the chance, the same violence that's going on today was there last year. We used to watch the news, and I definitely won't do this.
So did you come here because Joe Biden was elected president?
Basically.
No, that's not true. I love the reporter. What? You did what? You came, what? No, can't be that way. Yeah, that's a lot of people understand that. It doesn't mean that they're all here specifically because of Joe Biden. This is years in the making, but this isn't going to be solved anytime soon. This is going to continue to be a nightmare for any administration that doesn't want to deal with it, and any administration that does want to deal with it. You get one thing you got to work on, right? That's kind of what we've always talked about. You get kind of one thing. For Trump, it was tax reform. For Obama, it was Obamacare. And what's the next president try to do? They want to tear down the things you did into the previous administration, and unless they're on the same team, if you will. And then they try to reinforce the things that the other administrations in their team did well, and or try to craft something else. So, Biden and the Republicans tried to get rid, not Biden, but Trump and the Republicans tried to get rid of Obamacare, never did. We're still waiting for, it's a long 2 weeks for our health care plan from the Republicans. On the other side, they want to get rid of tax cuts. Only for corporations and the rich. Okay, whatever. But that's what you do. So this isn't, I don't blame this on Biden, much like I didn't blame the coronavirus on Trump. Response matters. Right? I think we can all agree that response matters. And right now his response has been small, to say the least. It's an annoyance. Right? And what do? You blame the last group.
This new surge we're dealing with now started with the last administration, but it's our responsibility to deal with it humanely and to stop what's happening.
So you heard one guy who came here and said, no, I wasn't coming here because of Trump. And then the guy says, no, I'm here. These people are coming here specifically because of Trump. No, they didn't come here because they knew that Trump wanted to make sure they couldn't get in. With you, they're coming here because they know that you're going to have a laissez-faire attitude and act like you may care with your empathy, but you're not interested in a solution or a fix. That's just life. That's just politics. Speaking of politics, today, it was almost a nightmare, potentially, in Publix in Atlanta, grocery store. Man was caught with a ton of weapons. And we're not talking about a little bit. We're talking about a ton. He had a cache of stuff. 6 guns, body armor, and a ton of stuff. Good Samaritan called it out, but it was scary.
He told me it took the managers there at that Publix about 5 to 6 minutes to really take what he was saying seriously about what was happening in that bathroom. He says when he saw the man, he was in a white T-shirt and black pants. He did not have the body armor. He did not see any of the other weapons, but he did see that long rifle.
Yeah. So he saw a rifle, the witness, and he's like, okay, because this isn't just somebody, it's not a conceal and carry. This is not something that is normal. I go in, I was talking yesterday to my, I do another show. My on-air partner, he's from New York. He's been out here 30 years. He's an Arizonan through and through. But he said, when he first moved out here, Arizona's kind of the Wild West, and it's if you don't understand guns, it's a little uncomfortable at times. You see people, you go into a store, you're at a Cracker Barrel, you get something to eat, and whoa, my God, you look over and there's, somebody with a gun. You're like, oh my God. And for a lot of people at first it's very, but then you kind of learn about guns and it's less frightening, if you will. And he said last night, he goes, let me tell you something. He goes, if I'm in a movie theater and it's packed and the guy next to me's got a gun on his hip, you know what? I'm not scared. Feel a little bit more comforted. So I understand. So some places, guns are one of those things. This was not that. This was a guy with a duffel bag, getting ready to throw on some body armor, and he looked like he was ready for business.
The Fulton County District Attorney's Office say they are looking at charging that suspect with aggravated assault. That suspect is now at Grady Hospital receiving a psychological evaluation.
Yeah. His name is Rico Marley. He's 22. He's been charged with reckless conduct. He had a cache of ammunition and weapons is how some people are describing it. He had a shotgun. He had, looks like an AR, and several handguns, a knife, and several magazines as well. Somebody did what you did. You bring it to people's attention immediately. You bring it to people's attention, and they almost didn't act upon it. And here's why. One of the reasons, I think. He's black. Even on Twitter earlier. Seeing the suspect that was there at Publix with all those guns is black makes me, because there's a narrative. And remember, we're a narrative-driven society when it comes to the media. How will this be covered comparatively to something else? People are on alert. That's what you have to do. I'd rather get it right. But if I'm wrong with the best intent, that's good too. This guy looks, they're putting him under psych eval, as you would do. But what could have happened, you don't know. He could have been in there just because. But when you're bringing body armor into a grocery store and a bag full of weapons, my assumption is, and this is just my assumption, I could be wrong, you're not there to shop.
It wasn't acted upon right away. It was actually taken a little bit more lightly than I thought it would be, especially with the recent events.
And that's the gentleman who made the decision to tell management there is an issue. If I was in that situation, and I'll just say this: if I was in that situation and I had a gun, right? So I'm a concealed carry or open carry, I would have told people, but also monitored the situation until the police arrived, and I would have called the police myself. That's the first thing I don't know if I had told management. I would have called the police immediately. I wouldn't have been I would have just told everybody, there's a guy in there with a gun. Everybody needs to get out of here. And call the police. But it was handled, and thank goodness, because that guy, like I said, I don't think he was there for shopping. 323-538-2423, at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. It is a weird story. We're going to touch on it a little bit. About Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal and what was in it or not in it. Is it real? Is it not real? It's very kind of bizarre story in the battle that goes on about whether or not it's real. Is this a real story? Is it not? But it's made headlines everywhere. And even here yesterday, amongst the elder adults, if you will, the mature adults, the 50, 60-year-olds, and the younger crew, everybody was talking about it. It's in Washington Post, the New York Times. It got a ton of press, and we will discuss. I don't eat Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Again, I'm an Apple Jacks guy. If I have any cereal at all. 323-538-2423, at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet and text the program. Wounded Paw, an amazing organization helping veterans as they transition back into society. Many of them struggle with PTSD. About 20-plus veterans today commit suicide. That's where Wounded Paw comes in to help. They rescue dogs that would be euthanized, and they take those dogs and train them. Take them from the shelter to become service dogs. They need your help. It's an expensive undertaking, and it takes time to get these dogs placed. They also help first responders and their families as well. They need a donation of a vehicle or cash, or you can even go to smile.amazon.com. Set your sporting group up for that. But the vehicle's great. You get a great, huge tax-deductible, gift right there. It's just an amazing thing that they're doing Find out how you can get involved, how you can help, and be a part of Wounded Paw by going to woundedpawproject.org, woundedpawproject.org. The money will be used to protect, advocate, and train these animals for our veterans, first responders, and their families. woundedpawproject.org. You'll be saving a paw to save a life. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Is it real? Is it fake? It's cereal. Kinda. Chad Benson Show.
You stink like fear and white male privilege to me.
I do often out myself verbally as a gender. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm proud to be a gender.
Are you stupid? What? Are you kidding me?
Not a great way to use your white privilege.
Some people get it, some people don't.
You're listening to The Chad Benson Show.
We live in a world of weirdness, wackiness, and the internet. And I don't always believe everything I see on the internet. In fact, a lot of times when I know something has some truth in it and may actually be true, I'm far more hesitant anymore because you just don't know. And every time, you see something, the first thing that comes to you is, it's not true. It's not real. I mean, that's for me. I mean, too many people know, yeah, it's absolutely true. So it's like when you see, something good happen to somebody and all of a sudden they have a GoFundMe. And, everybody pushes back. That's why you lose money in your GoFundMe. You throw some money out there because you think this person did a great thing and they need help. Well, all right. So like I said, I'm an open-minded skeptic, and I think it's the best way to be. Am I skeptical about the Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal's shrimp's tail? Because apparently there was shrimp tails in the Cinnamon Toasted Crunch.
I'm a 41-year-old man who has no shame saying he loves Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I've loved it since childhood. And so I purchased it at Costco. It's one of the family boxes that has 2 bags in it. Ate one bowl yesterday morning around 10 a.m. Totally fine with it. So I went to go get another bowl. And as I started to pour it out, kind of something fell out, like back in the 80s when it could have been a prize. It was not a prize. I learned quickly by touching it and looking at it that it was a shrimp tail. I looked in the bag. I saw another one and pushed the box away. I was grossed out. And luckily, I was the only one who ate it, not my child.
As Jensen Karp, the person who was the unlucky recipient of shrimp tails in his Cinnamon Toasted Crunch. By the way, for those of you who do not know who he is a writer, producer, actor, podcaster, and a former rapper who, by the way, his name Hot Carl. He signed $1 million record deal with Interscope in his early 20s. But now he writes for just about everything. Television, radio, also a radio guy. Works with Kevin and Bean. And it was, but he's done stuff like, WWE. He's written and done all kinds of stuff. He's got a podcast as well. So, and he's also Danielle Christine Fishel. You know who she is, right? You remember her? Right? She was on a TV show that was pretty popular. That's his. That's her husband. Yeah. Girl Meets World on Disney, but she was Topanga on Boy Meets World. So been there. I don't know if it's true. It seems like it could be true. General Mills, but this is the news right now, and the news is because there is no news. Biden, they're not going to cover immigration ad nauseum anymore. And part of the reason is because, they look like Biden might go down there and do something. And unless something's really atrocious, they'll cover it, but only to a certain extent. They're missing out on stuff. This became headline news yesterday. Was there shrimp inside? God only knows what's inside all of these things, where it's packaged, how it's packaged. Who knows? Yeah, we do this and we do that. We do this, we do that. All of these things here. You don't know.
They immediately sent the normal corporate response on Twitter. They were like, hey, we'll send you a free box. I was like, listen, I don't want more. And so they said, great, we'll get back to you. And then publicly they posted what could only be seen as gaslighting, telling me that what I was holding wasn't shrimp tails, that it was accumulations of sugar, which is like insane to me because it's clearly, it can't be anything else. It's shrimp tails. And so from there, it went viral. And I'm just bummed that they're not investigating it or publicly looking into it.
Yeah, General Mills said, nah, it's not that. Well, first of all, you got to eat the thing. If you think it's sugar, why don't you guys come here and take a bite of it? And then you tell me.
My friends and my wife convinced me to look through the rest of the bag. And at that point, I found a small piece of string. And then also some of the squares have a little black spot on them. And then the second bag, there is a piece of dental floss. But the issue still being that some of the squares have something cooked onto them. But today I am going to like a poison control lab. I want to get the black stuff tested because I did eat that.
Such first world problems. People around the world is like, we don't have water. And by the way, if you go down to wash your clothes in the river, there's a chance you may not come back because of, the things that will eat you. What's going on in your world? I think I found some shrimp inside of my cinnamon toast. Do you guys have cinnamon toast crunch? It's really good. It's delicious. You guys don't? You should really try it. It's good. I mean, again, I'm an Apple Jacks guy, but, some other people like this. And so we're going to go to poison control. What's poison control? Oh, it's this place you go where if you think, did I ingest something I shouldn't have? Oh, maybe I did or maybe I didn't. Yeah. Are you sure? You guys don't have cinnamon? It's really good, except for the part where it's shrimp.
Are you on the cereal or off the cereal now?
Off forever, which is such a bummer because I was a huge fan. I had a Cinnamon Toast Crunch vintage t-shirt. I had the Kyrie Irving Cinnamon Toast Crunch Nikes. I will never eat it again. I have to check if General Mills makes Captain Crunch.
I don't know if they do. Do they make Apple Jacks? Because I like Apple Jacks, but I hate fish stuff. Let's see here. Makes Apple Jacks. Kellogg's. I'm good. You don't know where any of this stuff is manufactured. Cinnamon Toasted Crunch. Eat a real cereal. I don't like cinnamon. I think that's my problem. I can't even remember the last time I had cereal. I used to eat I'd get those little Cheerio single servings, and I just eat it kind of as I'd snack on it throughout the day. I didn't pour milk into it and stuff. And then Winston, one of my giant lizards, he loves Cheerios. So I had to stop eating him because he was eating too many Honey Nut Cheerios. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Check us out across all of the social media world. And we got a ton of it, and social media is fun, but it's also crazy. I don't post as much as I used to, and part of it is just because at this point in time, I'm just sick of people fighting. Don't you just get that way? It's like, I'm sick of the arguing. It doesn't matter. I'm going to talk about this. I guarantee you I'm going to get at least several text messages and tweets to tell me what an idiot I am or that happened to me. You just can't win for losing. I'm just trying to inform you guys that I don't know if it's true, but it's always possible when you're having Cinnamon Toasted Crunch. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
If President Biden's intent was to show that he's taking this issue seriously, he's really done the exact opposite here. He's completely trivialized this issue by putting someone in charge who flat out just doesn't care.
Oh, she didn't care. Kamala Harris will be running the immigration side of things now, so that will free up more time for Biden to work on his stair climbing. That's not very nice, Chad. Immigration's a mess, right? It is. We've done that. But it's funny it's hard to have this conversation. It needs to be a conversation about what's going on. First and foremost, America, no matter how good we do with immigration, people will still always try to continue to come here. People will continue to make perilous, dangerous journeys. They will continue to put their kids in their lives in harm's way because they believe that what they will come to, where they will land, if you will, is opportunities that they would never get anywhere else. And you know what? They're absolutely right. They are 100%. 100%. Now, Kamala Harris, you know, we've all talked about, like, you know, the root cause. There's a lot of things with the root cause. You know, years of strife and wars and drugs and then of course all of that starts at the top, which is poor government, totalitarian governments that are in it for themselves and corrupt, cause people to flee places. But do we want to nation build? Because it kind of feels like she thinks so.
The reality also is that in addition to the border, we also need to deal with the root causes. Yes. We need to deal with what's happening in the Northern Triangle and address it in a way that is about not only diplomacy, but bringing our allies together, dealing with what we need to do around aid in a way that is about developing those countries so that we also deal with the cause of why people are coming into our country.
Yeah. And we send them a lot of money. Over time, it is a ton of money. Now, remember, Trump's like, no, we're not sending him any more money. We're not going to do this. Like $450 million just was frozen. Foreign aid to the triangle, as she calls it, Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. Well, why? Well, first of all, what do they do with that money? Where does it go? What assurances do we have that they're actually doing anything real with it? Oh, sure, some of it will trickle down. But the reality is a good portion of that is gobbled up by government officials, things of that nature. And there really is, you know, it's what government is all about. It's, oh, good, we got a lot of money. Let's make sure that everybody that we know is taken care of. And whatever else is left, the crumbs, we'll hand it out to the people. This is a serious issue, and it isn't going away anytime soon. And right now you have an issue where we have unaccompanied minors, a massive amount. We have zero transparency when they were supposed to be uber transparent, and they're not.
The access limited, only one camera allowed in. Reporters told not to speak with any of the 766 teenagers sheltering inside.
I think the crisis is that we have not yet fully responded to the needs that are out there. It is a humanitarian context in terms of what these children are fleeing.
Currently, because of COVID, we've had to limit the number of children that can be brought into these types of facilities and also ensure that they are safe.
Border Patrol stations are no place for a child.
We have nothing to hide. We are so grateful that you've taken the time to come see this facility.
You know, I mean, you listen to that and it sounds great, but it's all scripted. You know, they're taking him to a facility that they can really manage stuff that's not overcrowded, where the kids are, the joke, if you want to say that they're crisis actors. They're not, but it's not the reality of it. The reality is the journalists, they want to see some of these other places, both the right and the left. This is an issue, but an issue that's not going away because we have nobody who's hell-bent on fixing it. If it was me, right, and say, Chad, you got to fix this. What are you going to do? Well, first and foremost, when it comes to Canada, Mexico, Central America, we're going to have an easier work visa program for sure. We're going to enforce the laws we have. We're going to have a border that's strong. The catch and release would end, but it will be easier, especially if you're coming to do what? You're coming to work for a season and go home. Easy. Absolutely. That would be the first thing I do. The second thing I do, as far as the Dreamers go, yes. Dreamers stay. There's a pathway to citizenship. We go from there. Take away the fear and things of that nature. And then we can work out their family, the whole 9 yards later on. But there's going to be some serious issues when it comes to that. But we're getting there, and we're making a move. And as far as permanent residency and the opportunities, we're going to need people. We're not producing children like we used to. It's not just us. A good portion of the West isn't producing children. So in the future, we're going to need a workforce. But there's also going to be a certain meritocracy to the workforce, where we're going to be bringing people here who add not just the people that are escaping situations, but people who are coming here who are going to add things, doctors, the computer world, all of those things that we're going to need from the top scientists, doctors, those kind of things, the computer world, IT, AI, all that stuff, all the way down to the people who are escaping and are in horrific, and all they really want is a chance to come and work and then try to get home. They're not interested in marrying, if you will. They're here strictly as a friends with benefits. It's not going to make everybody happy. It isn't. But until it's dealt with in a real way, where they're willing to take on that you're going to piss off some people on your side and you're going to make some people on the other side happy and vice versa, it won't get done. And for the last 35 years, nobody's really pressured them outside of the media and some talking points here and there to really do it. So as far as they're concerned, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Are we getting close to being, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, normal?
When you're at that level, I don't think you can declare victory and say you've turned the corner. You've got to continue to do what we're doing, more vaccinations, and continue to do public health measures until we actually do turn the corner.
Dr. Rain on your parade, Fauci there. Yeah, so we're never turning a corner. It's always bad. Nothing ever seems to be good. We're getting kids back in school. There seems to be a sense of turning us into, a herd immunity, natural infection and immunization, that we're getting there and we're turning some sort of corner. He's not totally sold.
When I'm often asked, are we turning the corner? My response is really more like we are at the corner. Whether or not we're going to be turning that corner still remains to be seen.
I don't know what to say at that point. It's never, ever, ever good enough. We're turning the corner. We're not turning the corner. We are, through natural infection. Look, we were always going to get to some sort of herd immunity. That was going to happen. Natural infection was going to eventually take us to herd immunity. With vaccinations and natural infections, we are going to get there in a much quicker fashion. But it's not going to be tomorrow. Some states, they're already feeling like they're there. I'd like to think here in Arizona, we've got about 3.1 million people that have gotten shots. I'm one of them, but I've also had it. And so, and remember, you've got to, and they talk about, it's this or it's that, or it needs to be this many people. Right now, we're only talking about adults. We're not talking about children. So, 16 and over, but realistically, 18 and under, we're not talking about them. The people that are getting infected now are younger. They're healthier. We may see a spike in cases, but the death rates and hospitalizations will continue to stay low. That's understandable, because who's getting it? A 21-year-old? Unless they have severe issues, I'm not really worried. Are you? Probably not. Probably not. So, we're getting there. Florida is going to get there. They feel like they're already there. Texas is going to get there. Here in Arizona, we're getting there very, very fast. You take the, 3 million shots that have been already, pushed into people's arms, and you take that and then you marry that with I don't know how many people we've had who've had this. We're closing in on pretty much every adult either having it or have had a shot, at least one shot, which is kind of what they talked about. You need to get 60 or 70% of people. They weren't talking about they weren't talking about everybody. They're talking about the adults. Now, they'll probably move the goalpost, but I don't know if they can. And try to put the genie back in the bottle. I don't think you can. Not now. And with all of that going on, there is a good sign when it comes to the actual job market itself, because as goes this virus, so goes the job market. As goes the job market, so goes people's paycheck. As goes their paycheck, so goes living, paying for things, growing the economy.
For a year, the number of weekly jobless claims has been stuck above 700,000. For the first time since the pandemic took hold, the number has eased, a good sign for the labor market. But Ann Elizabeth Kunkel, an economist at Indeed, is cautious.
Don't want to celebrate entirely just yet. The magnitude is still so high. Total initial claims are 4.4 times higher than the pre-COVID era.
684,000 Americans filed first-time claims for unemployment last week, a sign fewer people are losing their jobs.
Yeah, and that's a win. That right there is a win. If you're working and you're making money, and you feel like you have a sense of stability, guess what happens? You breathe a little easier, you spend a little more, you engage in the economy, which then pushes the economy forward, and so on. So that's good news. Not perfect news, but it's good news, because there's still some big states out there, California, New York, and a few others that are going to still struggle for a while, because not everybody's going to come out of it the same way at the same time. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Rough Greens went home last night, and my dog Doodle met me in front of the garage, as he tends to do, bouncing, happy, looking at the lizards, or what he thinks he can see in the lizards. And he was excited because he knows it's dinner time. What do? I go and I sprinkle the Canine Vitasmart from Rough Greens right across all of his stuff that he loves. He eats it up. He feels amazing. And a year into giving him Rough Greens, he has really transformed. It is incredible. Absolutely incredible to see the transformation of a dog we thought we were going to put to sleep. It's got vitamins, minerals, vegetables. It's got omega-3, 6, 9s, probiotics. It has really helped his arthritic hips. His joints don't hurt. He doesn't ache. He is almost like a puppy, and that is amazing. Now, Canine Vitasmart from Rough Greens, they want to give you a bag before you buy a bag. They don't want you to buy a bag. You pay for shipping, we're going to give you out a bag. Now, you do this by going to roughgreens.com/Chad. ruffgreens.com/Chad. Put it to the test. They're willing to do it. So should you. On top of that, you can call them at 833-MY-DOG-77. 833-MY-DOG-77. Rough Greens. Make any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
I can't take it anymore!
Well, get over it. It's time to forge a new path with your very own political cartographer, Chad.
This is the first significant test of the Biden administration after years of the Trump administration failing to make any progress in the denuclearization of North Korea, even after those well-publicized summits. And it comes after testimony from a top U.S. commander who said North Korea's achieved alarming success in its quest to threaten the U.S. homeland with nuclear-armed ICBMs, and they may resume those testing of larger missiles. The Biden administration says it is committed to diplomacy.
Of course it is. That's what they're about. And who doesn't want diplomacy? Nobody wants war. Nobody does. Nobody who wants all this to be great. First of all, the powers that be in North Korea think that China would come to their aid if they did something stupid. They, let's just say for the sake of argument, they do one of their funny little, we're going to fire something close enough into the Sea of Japan or somewhere over the peninsula, and it gets a little squirrely as it has in the past, and it ends up killing a bunch of people. China will only come to the backing of them only so long. They're just not going to want to have any part of any kind of war. It's not going to happen. He's going to rattle a saber. They're going to whine and moan, and they shouldn't have done this, or we shouldn't have allowed them to have that, and how dare they? We're going to have to come now and put more sanctions on him.
This is the first time North Korea has launched ballistic missiles in a year, and it is a clear violation of UN Security Council resolutions and follows the launch of 2 cruise missiles over the weekend.
Yeah, so, and nothing will happen. Nothing will come of it. I don't know at this point, what are you sanctioning? I'm curious. Like, what are you sanctioning? There is nothing that they have access to. Zero. They got nothing. There is nothing left. It's they're not worried about the blue helmet guys coming over from the UN. Biden can try all he wants. Everybody else has. Trump tried a different way of diplomacy. It didn't work. Biden is going to do the same, he's going to try the same old, and you're going to get the same result, which is insanity. It isn't until his people wise up and realize what's going on that anything will change in that country. It's just not going to happen. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. We're going to talk about yesterday and equal pay.
It doesn't matter if you're an electrician, an accountant, or part of the best damn soccer team in the world. The pay gap is real. And this team is living proof.
Megan Rapinoe for the U.S. women's national team was there. We're going to touch on that. How real is it? Because it makes for great headlines. But is it real? Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Breaking news. Breaking news. This just into the Chad Benson Show news desk. PepsiCo and Peeps are teaming up for a spring marshmallow soda. That's right. They're joining forces to create a marshmallow soda, the worst thing in history. That is just awful. Pepsi's probably going, all right, guys. If you're looking over there, Coke's doing a lot of different things, a lot of different flavors. What's the worst thing we could think of? Peeps? I like your idea. Peeps. Marshmallows. Gross. Nobody likes them. People like them. No, they don't. Few people may like them. So they're going to be Pepsi canned marshmallows. Not actually. Yeah, it's just, whatever it is, it's gross. Let's not do this. Let's go. Oh, yeah. Remember that bad idea we were going to do? Yeah. Well, let's not. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right. Let's not. Let's not. All right. Cool. All right. Cool. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right, guys. Sorry. It's your breaking news from the Breaking News Desk for the Chad Benson Show. So bad. I'd rather eat cinnamon toasted frog legs or whatever those things were. Snail tails, shrimp tails, than that. That's just, ugh, just nasty. That's all I'm saying. Look, guys, in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's a UFO.
There's now a report that will be issued by the Pentagon, by the Secretary of Defense, and the Director of National Intelligence. But frankly, there are a lot more sightings than have been made public. Some of those have been declassified. When we talk about sightings, we're talking about objects that have been seen by Navy or Air Force pilots or have been picked up by satellite imagery that, frankly, engage in actions that are difficult to explain, movements that are hard to replicate, that we don't have the technology for, or traveling at speeds that, exceed the sound barrier without a sonic boom.
A lot of sonic booms, baby. Booms. All right, so who's that? John Ratcliffe, former intelligence chief. Kind of, probably, sort of, had some serious access to stuff. So in the last COVID bill that Donald Trump was a part of. So not this one, but the one that had happened in late December. Inside of there was a little sneaky thing that said that the Pentagon and the powers that be had to release information about UFOs. Now, we joke on the show all the time. Look, I'm an open-minded skeptic. I'll continue to say that. I am an open-minded skeptic. I don't know what's out there, and neither do you. Maybe there's something, maybe there's not. I kind of feel like maybe interdimensional, but there's things that cannot be explained, and that's kind of what he's talking about. There's a lot of stuff out there, don't know what it is. Not saying it's this, but also saying we didn't do it.
It's not just a pilot or just a satellite or some intelligence collection. Usually we have multiple sensors that are picking up these things. And so, again, some of this are just they're unexplained phenomenon. And there's actually quite a few more than have been made public. So I think it'll be healthy for as much of this information to get out there as possible.
And I don't know how much of that information we're going to get, because you'll find some stuff that was redacted. Some of that people say, oh, they're hiding something. That may be true, but it's not always nefarious. They may be hiding something. It's like, look, we can't let everybody know that this weapon that we've created exists because this is more about national security and what we have and others don't. But it also might be, oh, yeah, we can't tell. The world's not quite ready yet for the little green men. Oh. And one of those things, and it's famous, is what happened with the Navy pilots and the tic-tac thing that took place and has taken place on both seaboards.
Things that we are observing that are difficult to explain. And so, there's actually quite a few of those. And I think that information is being gathered and will be put out in a way that the American people can see. When we see these things, we always look for a plausible explanation. Weather can cause visual disturbances. Sometimes we wonder whether or not our adversaries have technologies that are a little bit further down the road than we thought or that we realized. But there are instances where we don't have good explanations for some of the things that we've seen. And, when that information becomes declassified, I'll be able to talk a little bit more about that.
And, again, John Ratcliffe, he's the former, intelligence director. So June 1st, some stuff's already coming out. And some of the stuff that they're reporting, as you know, because stuff gets leaked, not a shocker, that they're reporting it's unexplainable. If you have not seen the Navy pilots and the TikTok, whatever it is, if you've not seen it, it is amazing. First of all, they don't pick it up on any radar. Like, they can see it, right? And they have it on theirs, but the radars down below, they don't have it. And it goes from 80,000 feet or so down to the surface of the ocean in a nanosecond. And it doesn't break the sound barrier. There's also stuff inside of here that's being leaked that essentially time bending. Things like not of this planet. So it's a fair question to ask. Open-minded skeptic. But what we're talking about, immigration, Chad, I'm just saying you never know. You never know. Some of it, I'm sure, is very explainable to the military and to the U.S. government because it's stuff that we have that others don't. Other things will be the same as far as, worldwide phenomenon, that their militaries have come up with something. But some of it is unexplainable, at least by our standards. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. You know what? I love... anytime you can talk about Florida, it first makes you laugh, right? Because something's happened, and I love Florida, but something's happened, right? And this is a perfect this is like only in America, and then inside of America, pretty much 2 or 3 states that could even do this, and the one state that's on everybody's mind is Florida. Hey, high school's really important. You need to be homecoming queen. You think, Mom? Yeah. Well, I'm going to help you.
A Florida mom and daughter under arrest this morning for allegedly rigging the election for homecoming queen. Officials say assistant principal Laura Rose Carroll and her daughter, 17-year-old Emily Rose Grover, illegally accessed other students' accounts so Grover would be elected homecoming queen. The mother-daughter duo arrested in Pensacola Monday.
The system is set up for the persons who have access, not to allow persons to have that. There's a degree of trust that has to go there.
During a pandemic, during arguably the toughest times in people's lives as a group of people, you were so worried about your daughter becoming homecoming queen that you, as a person who works at the school, decides to take it in your own hands to assure the victory for your daughter. Florida.
Hundreds of student accounts at Tate High School had been hacked. Those accounts contain medical history, test scores, and other sensitive student information. School officials also discovered 117 homecoming court votes, all cast from the same IP address in a very short time. Investigators say Carol, an assistant principal at Bellevue Elementary School, used her district-wide security level to access accounts belonging to students at her daughter Emily's high school.
It is just like, that is, to me, is amazing. You rigged a vote. You rigged a vote for your child to win homecoming queen. You rigged a vote. Like, we talk about the parents. Like, we've got kids coming over here from places like Honduras, Guatemala, Haiti, all this stuff. Unaccompanied minors. Younger than her. On a perilous journey through gang-infested countries where cartels run wild and roughshod, corrupt nations where the police are in it with them, and you're like, you know what? My daughter needs to win homecoming queen because it's really important.
Authorities say they eventually found that a total of 246 votes cast for the homecoming court were linked to Carol's cell phone and computers at her home. The 17-year-old would often brag about using her mother's account to access classmates' private information. Florida teen Ariana was homecoming queen runner-up, losing out to Emily, her close friend for years.
The other girls that wanted it, that could have been one of the runner-ups, I feel bad for them because that was a opportunity that they lost.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, they gave it to her. That's the other side of it. Because that was the runner. Like, they gave it to her. I think at this point in time, you would strip it. Now, they found out later, obviously, what happened, but still. It's just so, I can't even believe that. But what should it shock us? I mean, and like the story's, wacky, but it just shows you, too, like, what parents are all about in this day and age. You wonder why parents pay God knows how much money, to get their kids into schools. It's not for the kids' sake. I mean, it's not. It's for, in many cases, the parents to feel great so they can brag about my child's homecoming queen. My kid got into USC. My kid got in, it is funny. But it's sad too. It's so sad. It's a sad kind of funny, if you can have that. Only in Florida. That is just, my God. Stupid always gets caught, by the way, if you didn't know. 323-538-2423, at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Speaking of stupid, Suez Canal.
Another long day for the tugs and dredgers, but still no progress. The MV Ever Given remains wedged in the waterway. That's creating a growing traffic jam at the entry points on either end, with at least 150 vessels now stacked up. The hope is the ship can be coaxed into moving without having to offload its thousands of containers, which would eat up even more time. Tom Rivers, ABC News at the Foreign Desk.
Yeah. Well, just to let you know, there's lots of stuff going on. This thing's massive. And it's causing a huge backup and delay as people are having to try to get different directions, literally sailing around. It is one of the busiest shipping lanes in the entire world. And with all of that going on, this is going to delay a lot of things. Because of this boat? No, the boat's sideways. And there's a question of like, how'd you get sideways? Like where did it start to go wrong? Where did this happen? They tried to coax it. I don't know how they did that. Come on. Come here. Come on. Yeah. No, it's not happening. It's not. It is not. Right now, it is a hot mess. And just to let you know, $9 billion worth of goods that should be passing through the waterway isn't getting through. Some are just going to be straight delayed. Others are going to have to take a longer route, which will also delay them, but they'll still get there a little bit quicker. But there's a trickle-down effect with this. Can't believe the boat's sideways. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't know what I was doing. You guys know you shouldn't have let me. I'm just saying. Probably shouldn't have let me. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program, talk a little equal pay. Straight ahead. The women's national team visiting the White House yesterday on Equal Pay Day. Chad Benson Show.
I'm so tired. I'm exhausted.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
I've told my daughters, granddaughters, from the time they were old enough to understand what I was saying, and I mean it, there's not a single thing a man can do that a woman can't do as well or better. Not a single thing.
That's not true, but yeah, Chad, it is. No, it's not. It's not true. And vice versa. The things women can't do, the men just can't do, besides giving birth. But, beauty of our uniqueness, right? Like, it's nature. It's part of what it is. But you brought the athletes there yesterday, and that was your part of the equal pay thing, and it's, and I said it, and I'll continue to say it. As far as like playing for your national, your home country, everything should be equal, right? You win a gold medal, the payout for that, but all of that stuff should be equal. All of it should be equal. When it comes to, other things, look, life is different. You forget, and I think the women have we're still in the infancy of the women joining the workforce the way that men have been in the workforce. So it takes time. Plus, we're always trying to make everything exactly the same when you and I know not all of that is true. It's not. We try to go, well, look across the board, men earn this. And then you start looking and say, well, men work more hours than women do. Women have more responsibility at home. That's fine. Should they compensate like that? Don't tell the government. They would love to do that. I'm sure they're thinking about that. But, men take higher risk, higher paying, jobs because they put their risk. Go see how many men die on the job. And there's a lot of different things that go into it, but it's always, because it's a great narrative. I think there shouldn't be a huge wage gap. And if all things being equal, I still think there's a meritocracy out there where, this person's better regardless of race, color, sexuality, what they identify as. That's the person that's going to get the job, and that's the person that should be compensated the most if they're better than everybody else. That's a good thing.
The reality, though, is that in nearly every job, more than 90% of the occupations, women still earn less than men. 82 cents on the dollar on average.
But when you start to break it down and you start looking at certain things, you realize not all of that is as it seems. It's easy to say. The gap is much closer when you get into the real nuts and bolts of it. Yes, women should be compensated just like men. But you also have to take in the experience. You also have to take in a lot of different things Not that just blanketly we should do that. And they're like, well, women athletes. No, women athletes, the Women's World Cup, it wasn't the United States national team that was the problem. And the U.S. Soccer Federation. You want the same money that the World Cup winners got in the last World Cup for the men's. Well, 4 billion people are watching that. 4 billion people weren't watching it. That's just a dollars and cents thing. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. You guys have a blessed day. I'm stoked because I see Friday. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.